Your premier Ford dealership is located here in Cabarrus County, where more than 70 years in the business lends to an incredible experience for every customer, every time. Whether you're looking for the toughness of an F-150, the spirit of a Bronco, or the versatility of an Explorer, you'll find it all at Hilbish Ford, your truck destination. Come experience the Hilbish difference in Kannapolis, just a 10-minute drive from Charlotte Motor Speedway, or get started online at hilbishford.com.
Yep,
I think we're going.
Yep, we're here.
We're good.
Hey, Dr. Dave, did you get blown down by the wind today?
The wind was a little tough. It came through rather quickly, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and we were blessed. We didn't have anything but a little bit of wind and a little bit of rain.
We survived, but it did a number on our setup here today.
Well, it's a good thing it did it right before we started.
Not in the middle of it.
But you know, with the guests we have today, it was quite expected that something would happen.
Left the door open and influenza.
Brian alluded to that in the text message today.
I did.
He sure did. Right.
Like, there's bound to be a tornado or a windstorm or
associated with this.
Oh, me.
And these sun drops warm. It's been sitting out waiting
out here for a minute
through all the technical problems.
It's almost St. Patrick's Day. I wore green today and you didn't.
No, I thought I had that shirt pulled out actually, but figured I'd wear one of my new Earnhardt shirts.
And look at those breeches you got, Dr. Dave. That is something.
Say that word 3 times.
There's no words.
Oh, me. Well, Ryan, we've got a great guest lined up with a really cool story to tell us. I'm going to let you do the honors and get this one rolling.
We do, but right before we jump into that, I want to just mention this football.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Picked up this football today, actually. And this is a 1960 A.L. Brown co-championship football. And it says number 47, Ralph Johnston. And a lot of people around town knew Ralph Johnston. I'm sure Chuck did. And but what a classic to be able to get this first championship from A.L. Brown high school football history. And cousin Chris here can explain all those other details and fine amounts by that.
No, it was really cool. Great artifact. I mean, that's like one of one,
awesome.
Very rare. You know, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, that was a Western North Carolina Activities Association championship, and in the old days, the Western schools had their own association, and then in 1976, they finally combined with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. But anyway, you know, Kannapolis, they tied in the 1960 season with Hickory. I think it was a 0-0 championship game. Played, I want to say, at Mooresville, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
According to the internet, it said Kannapolis Memorial Stadium.
Oh, maybe that one was,
but
that maybe it was, yeah.
Who was the coach in 1960?
Ed Edmonston, I believe.
Yep, Ed Edmonston. Yep.
Hey.
I did read that too.
Yep.
And you know, legends such as Harry Mills and Harry Green was there, and Gray Clark, and just a lot of really good, great guys. And in fact, I called Harry.
I think that's
Mills.
an episode coming up soon.
Yeah,
just to talk about this ball.
I called Harry Mills right before we did the show and couldn't get him, but just wanted to talk to him about it.
That's an incredible find.
Great find, and
we saved it.
Great friend of the show, Scott Irby.
Saved it from down there.
And you know, Scott Irby is one of the biggest Concord guys ever. But he went out of his way to get this for us. And,
thank you, Scott.
And I think it's in a good place. We have a case coming already for it. So.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm very tickled. This is an episode we've been talking about for quite some time to do with someone who's just an awesome guy, a great friend, somebody that I've been around now for almost 18 years, 17 and a half years. I've known this guy. And so he's been a part of our family for that long. And when I say family, it really is considered part of our family. And my dad thought the world of him. My mom does, and she likes to give him a hard time and pick on him, and he picks right back. But Mr. Brent Offenberger, and he has worked at the research campus now for almost 17, 18 years, and just recently started back part-time because he retired from us. He left us for a little while and took a 9-month hiatus, and now he's back as of this week. And so glad to have him here. He is a talented guy, and I will let him tell the story of his growing up, how he got into doing the things he does. So, Brent, it's all yours. Well, I don't know. It is all yours, but I hate to say that, you know.
I got you, man. So, to give you a backstory, I grew up in Ohio, and about 1974, my dad had borrowed a table saw from a friend and started building cabinets. And that turned into him buying a table saw, buying a lathe, buying a bandsaw, and start doing woodworking. My pop was a truck driver, so that's how I got into really liking trucks and all that type of stuff. And I think in 1984, I moved down here. But before that, we'd still come down with my mama's family, lived in Mooresville. Every year we'd come down here for a vacation, but when we did, we always went to Cannon Mills. Went down to the towel store, and remember driving down Route 3, it was 136 at the time, and pull up there and seen that massive building, and I always wanted to walk over there and count the brick, which I couldn't count that high. If it's over 24, I'm done. But so I thought it was pretty cool, but I never dreamed I ended up working down here and meeting a lot of people from the town, and the history was just so cool. So it's about, I don't know what year it was, 99, 2000, 2001. I owned a plumbing company, and I got a call down to Kannapolis, and I came down through Landis, and when I got up to the loop road and went down towards Kannapolis, well, a police officer had a road stopped. I didn't know why. Rolled the window down. I'm in this plumbing truck, and all of a sudden I heard a kaboom. Looked there, here's the building coming down. They blew up, and Cannon Mills destroyed the building, demolished it.
That would have been probably 2006.
2006, somewhere through that. I can't, it's been so long ago. But so anyways, I ended up, once I opened the road up, I went around to the back side, and having the plumbing truck with me, they weighed me on in like a construction vehicle. Now I went up, there's some workers over there, and I asked them, there's a pile of lumber and timbers. I asked them, can I get some of that lumber? They said, yeah, take what you want. They helped me load it because they were pretty heavy beams, some of them. So I drove out of there, maybe 6 beams and a bunch of smaller stuff. Got it back to the house, and then later on, that's what all these trucks you see, most of these are built out of that lumber.
That's so cool. And then later, when Brent started working at the campus in early 2009, when you started, became our master plumber for all the university buildings there. Your license is in plumbing, but your heart is in woodwork from your early days, obviously. I mean, you're one of the best plumbers I've ever met, but you're absolutely the best finished carpenter I have ever met, and I think that probably has ever walked into the city of Kannapolis.
Yeah,
because this is incredible, and your dad, I'm very lucky to be able to have known your dad, and also for my mom and him to have running jokes for years. But he was, he loved this stuff, and I know a couple of these things you had built for him, and of course your sons, Luke and Chris. There's some of their stuff sitting here. But tell us a little bit about each of the items you got in front of us today.
Well, we'll start with the truck there on the front. That was one I made Luke 2 years ago for his birthday. And this last thing, we had a log cabin up in a little the one on the end.
Very front one.
Yeah, that one.
Here.
And we had a log cabin up in Spruce Pine, Little Switzerland, and that's the last thing I made before he moved out of there and tore my shop apart. And he works for a plumbing supplier, and I made that truck with the plumbing supplies on the back with their logo on it and all that. Because I want to make sure each one of my kids had something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
that is pretty
seems
cool.
like I built them for everybody else, but they never got anything,
Right.
So, and then the truck beside of that's a snow plow that's got the Ohio signature on it, a state truck that removes snow and puts ice out. Made that for my father. He done a lot of, he didn't do the small stuff like this as much as he did cabinets and furniture and that type of stuff, but he always loved my woodworking. But I got to give all the credit to him. He's the one that taught me everything.
Man, this is just some cool stuff. I mean, this is, I want to use the term heirloom quality. This is things that you can absolutely, you know, hand down to, you know, grandchildren, great grandchildren. Obviously, I know that you've got some pieces in your office at work, Ryan, and this is just kind of the coolest thing. And then, you know, just to top it all off, though, and I kind of want to take a step back to, you know, talking about showing up there the day the mill comes down and just kind of riding through like you own the place. I mean, the story behind it is what makes this stuff even cooler than anything.
Yeah. Well, the school bus is kind of a unique story behind that. The seats in it came from Guatemala. I went there on a mission trip. And coming back, they throw that kind of wood away that the Brazilian cherry, mahogany, like we do 2x4s up here.
Wow.
It's plentiful, but it's expensive here. So I went over where they was building this nursing home and asked the guy if I have some scrap, and he loaded me up with scrap. They just go burn it and throw it in a dumpster. So when I got to the airport, my suitcase couldn't even pick it up. It's so full of wood. So I don't know if you want me to tell this story. You've heard it. Ended up, there was another group there from Michigan, and ended up, long story short, one of the ladies took some of my wood, and I took her bedroom garments, if you will, and put it in my suitcase. Because my suitcase weighed so much, so when we got back to Charlotte, got off the plane, we switched stuff back out there customs. Guy at custom asked me if I had anything to declare. I said, what do you mean? I didn't know what that meant. That's why I got some souvenirs from my kids and brought some wood. He said, what kind of wood? I said, I don't know, mahogany and Brazilian cherry. So he unzips my suitcase, and there's some lacy underwear sitting there. He picks them up with the dowel rod, looks at it, says, I don't even want to know. Go on.
There's a story for you.
There's a sun drop break right there.
Oh, yeah, I need a sun drop.
Brent has some of the craziest stories in the history of mankind,
gosh, yeah.
This episode is not enough to go over a lot of those.
No, we're not going to talk about the trip to the eye doctor.
No, or the truck drive shaft falling out on the side of the road and setting a 7-acre field on fire.
Yeah,
I mean, none of those stories are being caught in 3 different tornadoes and being
you name
on
it, this
Channel
happens.
3.
Wow.
And Brent is a hero for our armed services. And when he was on a fishing trip in Virginia, Chesapeake Bay, Navy, right? Mm-hmm. Navy helicopter crashed in the water right beside his boat. And he rescued 3.
It was my father-in-law, my son Luke, and myself. It was my father-in-law's boat at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 3 of them out of the water. I think they would have lived without us, but we got them out of the water, and the water's pretty cold.
And he got some recognition by the U.S. House of Representatives for that.
Mm-hmm.
But just some of the craziest stories. But anyway, I digress.
Now, Dr. Dave, he's right. If something can happen, it's going to happen with Brent here. Now we know why we had the technical difficulties.
Yeah, if that helicopter story, them pants ain't nothing compared to mine.
No, that's right. That is true.
Yeah, I won't go into what I was wearing.
Yeah, no, that's a whole different deal.
Yeah, it was.
So the tow truck, what's the deal about the tow truck?
That was the first one I made for my oldest son, Justin. And back then, you just see that the difference is that I just used one wood.
Yeah.
And now I'm adding the different woods with it to give us some character.
And then the truck on the forefront of the table you're sitting at, that was truck you made for your dad, right?
Yeah, that's the first one ever made that has a tilting cab on it.
Isn't that something?
Doors open on it and got details inside. And that's the first one and the last one of these excavators I've ever made, and probably will never make another one. Made that for his 80th birthday.
How about that? How many hours does I was going to say? How many hours does it take?
100 hours in this particular truck.
100 hours.
Probably a little over. Because like I was telling Chuck earlier, I don't use tape measures. I just draw them out, cut them, and go with it.
Show the tracks on the excavator.
Yeah, everything on these things, something on all these models move.
Isn't that something?
And these all turn. Well, I can get it to turn.
Isn't that cool?
So when I say there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears making these, there's a lot of blood.
And I know the camera doesn't pick it up and it doesn't do it justice, but the trailer beds are inlaid wood from Cannon Mills, like each
they're Cannon Mills
small little boards.
Yep.
And you when you make these, there's no nails or screws.
No nails or screws, just wood glue and dowel rods on some of it. And
holding it together.
Yep.
So, and then in front of you, there's a plumbing supply truck and trailer.
Yep. That's when I made my son Christopher. He works for a plumbing company as supplier. Like both my younger boys worked there, and made him a truck.
Show the supplies there.
These have got like the Gerber toilet tanks, what they come in. This is the bowls.
Wow.
That's the shape of the boxes actually come in. I started doing laser engraving, so I put the names on some of this stuff.
Wow.
So cool.
The detail is just incredible.
It is.
Yeah. A lot of people say it's a lot of work, but to me it's relaxing. It's
I
my
can see that.
golfing or my
I can
fishing.
see that. I've done a lot of woodworking, and you're right. It is relaxing.
Yeah, you're like Opie burned the house.
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really something, and especially some of this wood you were able to get from during the construction of the research campus.
Correct.
It was a contractor you knew that gave you some of the wood from up there. So some of these items have a mixture of the old and the new, which is, I think, one of the most cool things.
Yeah, I made Ryan a truck that's got a bulldozer on it. That's actually got the Core Lab woods. It's got UNC wood, NC State wood, and the
mill.
The mill wood, yeah. And the shelf I built for him was one of the beams that came out of the.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
It's in my office. It's you've seen it, and I think you've seen it before, Chuck, too. And everybody that comes in there is just astonished by it, you know, especially when they look at it.
And it's not just the incredible quality. It looks cool. I mean, it moves, but the detail you put in, like the steering wheel moves with wheels. I mean, just things like that. I mean, that takes an expertise and engineering that you possess that that's not something I feel like you learned in a book. I don't know. How did you get that detail?
I don't know, just came up with it. And I've had people all the time ask me where I got my patterns. And it's like, I ain't no patterns. These are all my own designs,
That's the
And they're
remarkable
one-ofs.
part.
But
Yeah.
like I said earlier, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in it. I made a lot of mistakes and ended up looking down and got hurt and didn't realize it, trying to get my fingers too close to sanders and stuff. But
At least you hadn't used a side grinder on these.
yeah, I didn't use no side grinders on those.
Yeah. Amy appreciates that.
Yeah, that's another story.
So, and I know you've done some craft shows. You did some that were here in Kannapolis years ago. Mm-hmm. You were featured in the Independent Tribune, probably like 2012 or somewhere in the early 2010s, I guess.
Yeah.
They did a story, Michael Knox did, about this stuff. And of course, you've added a lot of vehicles and things since that time. So out of all the stuff you've made, what's been your favorite thing to make, either from a sentimental reason or from just something that's just cool?
Well, I'd say this truck here was probably one of my favorites because it's a special design for my pop's 80th birthday. And I got a decal on the door. It's got his birth date on it, April 1st, 1940. That was probably one of them, but most of them is just making them and giving them to little kids. You can't beat the smile you see a little kid when they get a helicopter or a little small car. Obviously, a little kid ain't gonna play with something that big. These are adult collectibles, but I do make small ones for kids.
Yeah, I mean, you made a lot of little, I'm going to say they're probably 6 to 8 inch size cars and trucks and stuff like that.
They can't get hurt on because they poke an eyeball out on a smokestack or something. I feel bad. And get sued.
Yeah.
No chance.
It's not safe for kids 6 and under.
It ain't safe for me. I'll probably fall on one.
Now, the tractor trailer there in front of you, is there something in that cab, like the sleeper part in the back? Is it detailed out on the inside?
That one is not, but I have done them. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I had them where the lid lifts off. You can see down in there.
Now, what about anything motorized? Can you put a motor in this and make it work?
I've actually took a dump truck and put a motor in it and made a homemade racetrack and put it on that. Sure have.
About that.
It didn't make the turn too good.
You got a real life Mr. Wizard here.
Yeah.
Hey, you need your own show.
I don't know about that. But, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's just relaxing. That's what I like doing. I do other stuff. I make cabinets and furniture too, but this is a hobby.
What are you working on right now?
A house in the mountains.
Oh.
Yeah, we gonna be done in 2 weeks.
It's a big,
Inside joke there.
yeah, big construction project, not a finite a truck.
Yeah, I always said
Not
shipping.
a tiny house.
No, not a tiny.
No, I always said shipping Joanna Gaines ruined my life because my wife watched that show and she gets an idea, and a little while turns into taking out a window to taking off a roof to building a room on to, it just escalated. So
Snowballed.
GTV.
Plus, you had a lot of snow up there.
yeah, we did have some snow.
No, you had a hurricane. I mean, you had a lot to deal with.
Yeah, we had a hurricane. We had the house, just started working on it when the hurricane hit last year.
And you told me today that where that's at is rated for 155 mile per hour
Anything
wind.
you build has to have 155 mile per hour wind rating on it.
You got 70 today.
Which
Yeah,
is
it has
unreal.
over 70
Crazy.
gust up there, yeah.
So if you were and being, let's shift to your plumbing trade. When did you start getting into that? How did you know you were going to become a plumber, get your own license?
Well, when I moved down
All that
here in
stuff.
'84, the reason I moved down, there was no jobs in Ohio. My hometown of Marietta, everything was just drying up. So my aunt said there's plenty of jobs in Mooresville, so I came down here, and within 2 days of putting in like 8 applications, I had 5 job offers that quick. And I took it out of mill and worked that one for a couple of weeks. Then got another call. They offered me $1 more. Back then $5 was a lot of money back in '84. So ended up that. Then I ended up working at the hospital, and that's where I learned the plumbing trade. The one in Mooresville, the old Lord Lawrence Hospital, which is now Lake Norman, and now it's a courthouse. The actual building is. So.
Right above the high school there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there by Plop Field. Yeah.
I've heard some stories from you on that place.
Oh yeah. There's.
Anything
I need
you
to
can
write
share?
a book.
I'm saying anything we can talk about on the air.
Which story you want to talk about?
There was a fire. There was all
yeah.
kinds of.
Well,
Is
yeah.
the statute of limitations have they run out to keep you from getting in any trouble?
Yeah, I can tell you a
Okay.
good story that at the research center, our job as maintenance guys, when the fire alarm goes off, go outside. You got a certain space you got to be so you can be counted. At the hospital, maintenance job was to go to the fire. And I wasn't there too long. And I had a trainee with me, and the fire alarm goes off. And they come across the speaker, fire alarm, 3rd floor. And the guy says, what do you do? I said, we grab a fire extinguisher, go up the steps, get to the fire. We go up there, and the nurse was standing outside this room. And she says, y'all just settle down. Said, it's just this girl in here smoking. There ain't no fire. And I looked in the room. The girl couldn't have been 10, 12 years old. I said, I don't think she was smoking. I said, it smells like cardboard. So I walked over to this, we call it the shell, was an empty part of the 3rd floor that had metal doors on it. And they eventually made it a children's center. But I walked over there and felt the door like we're trained to do. Didn't feel too hot, but I could tell it was a little warm. Nodded up, down like you're supposed to, cracked the door open, looked back, and there's a big pile of boxes where housekeeping had their supplies stored. And somebody had been back in there smoking and left a cigarette burning. And that fire was going up, hitting the top of the ceiling, 12 feet up, and flaring out. And I run in there with this big fire extinguisher, reached down, pulled a pin, squeezed the handle, and forgot to pull the nozzle up. It was a mess. The fire department helped me out. They gave me some oxygen and got me out of there. So, just stupid stuff like that my whole life.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And you were on the fire department. Were you at the fire department at the time, or
No, not at the time. But in '91, my house burned, and there was a volunteer fire department. One guy showed up with one truck. Didn't know how to get the fire. He couldn't get the water off the truck. Didn't know how to run the pump. So after that, I joined the fire department.
right?
The volunteer thing, but it's pretty cool.
Is there anything you can't do?
He can fly an airplane. I know
Yeah,
that.
no, wait, there's a story about that I hear.
Oh, there's several of those too. Yeah, I started taking flying lessons down at Miller Airport and got my solos, and that's as far as I went so far. But I gotta take a written to get finished working fly passengers.
I heard you did get a letter from the FAA saying cease and desist one time.
Well, I wouldn't cease and desist. The guy teaching me to fly the plane when I got my solo license told me, come get my plane anytime, fly it. Get some practice in, landing and taking off. This a little 4-seater Cherokee, so I went down and got it, flew over Lazy 5 Ranch. I flew in circles. My house is out there. And I was flying circles, looking down, sightseeing. I made about 4 or 5 laps around it. And apparently, they got a letter. What I'd done, I was looking down at Lazy Fire Ranch and I seen a giraffe down there, and the giraffe was watching the plane, and it didn't turn its neck, it turned its whole body about 4 or 5 times and fell over, and it was pregnant.
Got dizzy.
It got dizzy, fell over. They sent a letter to Miller Airport, said, whoever's flying that plane, stop it.
Scaring the giraffe.
Yeah, got the giraffe drunk.
You made a giraffe faint. How dare you?
Oh man,
That's a good one.
But no, I mean it's I've been wanting to do this. Brent's been wanting to do it for a while, and I'm glad we were able to do it. I'm glad we were able to patch our equipment back together after that storm to make it possible where we could have volume and sound and video. So, the other thing, I guess, since you're here, you were sought after by the community college when you retired, and even before then, to do a plumbing program there.
Yes.
But and thankfully you came back with us for part-time instead. But what about the young people out there looking to get into a career or jobs? What would be your recommendation on plumbing or the trades in general, given the way the world is right now?
Well, the way things are going, I mean, there's only so many computer jobs out there, that type of stuff. And the average student at night college in the trades is 53 years old. I was reading that the other day. So I would say these younger generation, I like to see them get into these fields, because it's going to be one of these days, it's going to be so scarce that plumbers, HVAC guys are going to charge whatever they want to, because there's still going to be nobody out there. There's so many changes in the field with the codes, the technology, and there's going to be a lot of people left behind. It really is.
A lot of need.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Totally
need. I mean,
agree.
there's
Very true.
people, there's electrician jobs everywhere, plumbing jobs, HVAC.
and you can
carpenters,
charge what you want. I mean,
pretty much.
I've hired him to come to our house and do some work. I know you've had him do a lot here. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're good, you're good.
Right. Well, and it's just amazing. I mean, and you're right. Anytime we go to the plumbing store, most of the people that are the true owners or whatever, they're all older. They're not younger people. And a lot of times you'll see a young person get in it and then they quit and go somewhere else or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of opportunity out there for that group of age of people to have a great career, and a lot of times, in most cases, make way more than somebody getting a college degree.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, and the potential to make way more.
Yeah. Well, I had a guy tell me one time I was at his house working, and he told me, he said, I used to be a doctor. So I quit, became a plumber, and make more money.
Yeah, I don't.
Just joking with me. That's,
Well, and speaking of people you've worked on houses for, I mean, you've worked on a lot of race car drivers' homes, built a lot of those homes over there. Was the plumbing contractor on a lot of those homes on Lake Norman, and so you've worked on anything from an outhouse to a mansion on the lake and everything in between. So I'm sure that's probably been a really cool part of your career.
it has been a lot of neat people.
Yeah.
Sure have. 'Cause I started out doing carpentry before I got into the plumbing. Building houses, then got on the plumbing side of it. And made some messes, and as you know, my personal email reflects how my business started. So, born to flood.
Born to flood.
I've earned it.
Oh man.
Oh me.
Anything else, Dr. Dave, for Mr.
No, I
Brent?
thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's been great.
He is man of many talents.
Yes, he is. He is incredible. I wish if he had more time to make a lot of this stuff and have more time to go to craft shows and car shows, because this stuff is second to none.
Oh, I agree.
You could go into nicest boutique stores that sell handmade stuff anywhere and not find the quality stuff that he can do. So,
Yep.
I mean, if nothing else, just to show it off.
Yeah.
It's just so awesome. What
That
about you?
is.
It's been great. Always, enjoy the friendship, and like I said, I've had you at the house doing work for you. Still got some stuff we need done now, so we need to get you on your schedule. But no, this has been great. I mean, looking at the detail and just the amount of effort and just how cool this stuff is that you can do this.
Awesome.
Again, not by looking at a schematic or a blueprint. I mean, just coming out of your head and conjuring it up and working your magic on your saw and making it. I mean, this is really cool things.
Well, and our show is typically not focused on the arts, so to speak. but this is truly the arts.
It is.
And this is the kind of arts that I really enjoy.
There's a lot of Kannapolis history set.
No
question.
It really is, yeah.
No question. There are people that would pay a lot of money to go to college to learn to do what you've done on your own.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I had no idea that you were the man of the talent that you are.
But hey, speaking of talent, you play any pickleball?
Nope.
We got to load up the truck and go down the street to Carolina Pickleball Club. That's the place to be in K-Town, right there at the corner of Chipola Street and 29. You know, we have a lot of fun when we go down there.
Well, the problem is you can't see from the table, but I'm top heavy.
Oh, hey, pickleball.
I'll be the pickleball.
Hey, we've talked to all the guys down there. That pickleball is a sport for everyone. You know, they promote us and help us out here with the K-Town connection, and I think we ought to just go down there and test it out.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people say once you start it, you love it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure the way the weather's been today,
they're in there.
I bet
now.
they're packed.
Yep.
No question.
Well,
cool.
I think that's it. I think we're going to call it. We're going to do dinner tonight, supper.
I don't know.
Where's the phone?
It's wherever you put it.
I think lightning ran in on it too.
Blew it up. It blew it up.
All right, guys. Hey, well, this has been a great one here at K-Town Connection for Dr. Dave, Chuck Irvin, Brent Offenberger, and there it is. There it is. Hey, we knew we had to get that one in there. That's time to go. I think we called it.
3 for Dale.
I'm not going to throw my bell because I don't want to hit any of your stuff.
The bell rung.
That was good.
That was real good.
Yeah. Oh, that was cool.
I might need to edit out a story or two. Yeah, most people tell me you're lying. That stuff couldn't have happened to you.
The Carolina Pickleball Club is a premier organization dedicated to providing a welcoming and competitive environment for pickleball players in Kannapolis. They are passionate about promoting the sport among seasoned players and beginners alike, offering skill-based competitions that challenge and inspire. Go visit our friends at the Carolina Pickleball Club, 724 Chipola Street in Kannapolis, and tell them the Rough Talk Cousins at the K-Town Connection sent you.